We are live. Welcome, everyone. I see Zach's already jumping on. This is going to be beautiful. Geez, we haven't even started, Zach. Geez, give us a chance here. Now,
well, he was talking about the shirt.
Yeah.
I got black today. I don't know this. I'm in Utah, so I only had one choice. I gotta get back to where I can get to my closet.
Yeah. Does that count as Aloha? I had a white one on the other day, and I don't know if mine counted as Aloha. I don't know if yours counts. I can't tell. Is it just black? We'll give a thumbs up or thumbs down. I got a lot of thumbs downs when I was wearing my white shirt, but I think I'm pretty Aloha today. I think
no excuses, right? But I'm giving excuses. I've been on the road. I was in Michigan earlier in the week, then I was in Vegas, and I'm now in Utah. I was in California for a moment. I don't know. Where am I today? Hey, last week when I did this, right? I did it from Michigan. Week before I did it from Hawaii. Today I'm doing it from Salt Lake. So I try to bring my Aloha shirts wherever I go. Sometimes I mess up. I got to get back to my closet.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? You are just, I think every single episode you've been somewhere else. You've been in the airport. You've been in San Diego, Hawaii. This is amazing. So now you're in Utah, and you were just in Vegas, which, as a lot of people know, we've had, it's been a tough week, especially in Vegas. And this one really did hit home for me. And all the shootings, they're all equal. They're all tragic in their own way. And I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know if it's because my cousin was there. I had some friends there. One of my good friends, best friend's sister was there. And just, you hear all these stories of people, personal people. And it really just hits home. You see, obviously, it's at a concert as well. There's a lot of videos going. So there's a lot of coverage and footage. So a lot of that hit home for me, and it really hit me hard.
Well, it hit me hard too. I mean, and I think any of these hit you hard, but yeah, I know that myself and my family, I don't know if you could have come in, but we were planning to be there. If I wasn't working on this event with our great guest today, Mark Hattas, and what we're going to talk about, Soldiers of Hope, it's amazing. We were in Chicago rather than at that event because I made a commitment instead to move. We're doing an event November 4th. So we weren't there. And then Chase, who loves country music, he was planning on going, but his business didn't allow him to go. But then our Kathy, my wife's, your mom's brother, his daughter was there, and she's okay, but a good friend was killed, and she had to be in all that. And I don't know if that's conditioned, and we know so many people too. And on Wednesday night in Vegas, I spent the night at the chief of the captain of the whole fire department. So you can imagine what his life has been over the last few days. And he told me some remarkable stories. So even, in that tragedy, he had one of the ambulances that just prior to the shooting, someone was in critical condition, and they take him to the hospital, and they're there getting him there. And all of a sudden, while they're there, the shooting takes place, and all of a sudden people are just coming to the hospital, way overwhelmed. And they called and said, "Hey, Captain, I think we need her here. Can we stay here? Because there's too many people to handle." He says, "Stay there until you do whatever you can." So, it was just them to be in that spot right in that moment is another little miracle for that to happen. They were saving lives that maybe wouldn't have been saved.
And that leads right into what I want to start doing in these Aloha Fridays to kick things off. We do it every time we get into our coaching calls, anytime we go into our certification calls, which Mark is going through with us, and our masterminds, any of this, when we have a game ready with an athlete, when we go through, your process to get into that inspired writing, we always start and ground ourselves in gratitude. It's such a powerful to be in that state of gratitude. And that's what Aloha Friday is all about. Even in times of sorrow, even in these low times, you can find gratitude in everything. So I want to start that tradition today. And I want to encourage everybody watching. This is just your reminder to find gratitude in anything. And as we go, as I share my gratitude, Dave shares his, I want people to just chime in the comment box below, and maybe we can hear everybody's gratitude. And I think that energy, as we just bottle up and grow all of these gratitudes together, it's going to be powerful and it's exciting. So I want to start and just say, like what you were just saying with the firefighters, in this tragedy, there's a lot of negative, and a lot of people see that because it's blown all over media. At first, they talk about the shooter and all these people that have passed away, and it's very tragic. But I want to say that I'm so grateful for the heroes. There were so many heroes that were just risking their life, jumping on people, covering them with their bodies, getting people out of there. And it's just amazing that people can come together like that. It doesn't matter if they knew the person, they come from different backgrounds. There's so many things going on.
They're Democrat, Republican, this, right? Or that.
It doesn't matter what their beliefs are.
Yeah.
When we come from a place of love, we're all human beings, and we all come together in that healing together, which we're going to talk about today. That's powerful. That unites us as a country. So I'm grateful for the heroes that were there. What are you grateful for today, Dave?
Well, I have to say, I love what you're grateful for. I'm going to say I'm grateful for that too. But what I'm really especially grateful, I'm in my new office. I'm in Utah. I know it's crazy and we did a crazy thing. We decided to, we were inspired. It was just something that came to us that this is where our work needed to be done. I know the lives that are going to be changed because this is an amazing place. We have guest houses on here, a creek. We have a movie theater here. This office is incredible. I know we should feel God's presence wherever we are, but I don't know. I'm just like, wow, I'm on cloud 9, and I'm so grateful that I'm willing to take the steps to see this come to fruition. That's all. I'm just so grateful that God's given me a strength beyond my own, because, you have moments of, I don't know. And then you have this, yes, you do. I don't know. Yes, you do. And so you just take one step at a time, and then that will lead you to the next step. So I'm grateful for that.
Amazing. Well, and I see Billy, happy Friday to you as well. Helen, aloha. Zach, welcome. We're excited to get this going again. I want to hear people. I want to hear what your guys' gratitudes are for today. It can be as simple as anything, but I want to get into this routine. It's a reminder for all of us, not just for us being grateful because it's powerful, but all of us together in unison in that gratitude. And we're going to get Mark's gratitude as well. But I want to talk about our guest right now. Let me see how do I make him the center of attention. I don't know. I think it's going to be, we'll just keep him in the middle. Yeah. He's big in real life too, and in a loving way, and big heart. And I'll tell you, that was the one thing when I was asking, okay, let me get some background on you. What's some of your biggest highlights that I can share with the rest of us? And Zach's commenting in, grateful for my relationship with you two. Hey, we're grateful for you and our relationship with you. So thank you for that, Zach. And Zach's going to be a guest on our show one of these days. We're trying to figure out, but he's just too popular for us. His Fridays or so, we'll get him on one of these days. But going back to Mark, his most important thing and the thing he's blessed, and I'll let him share his gratitude, but it's his family. He's got 4 boys, 1 girl, a loving wife. And, besides all the success he's had in business, his family is his, from knowing him and talking to him, and you can, relay, Dave, or you can even speak for it, but he that's number one. And you look like you're going to say something.
I was just going to say he's very present. You talk about levels of integrity and honesty and openness. And there's only one man that I have ever met that I felt like was at a whole nother level, and that was Roger Anthony, who we lost 3 years ago to cancer. And we wrote, the Be a Beast book and started the Be a Beast training. Most amazing man I've ever walked on earth with. And I'm telling you, Mark is right there. I mean, his openness, his way that he takes this breath and gets connected fully, that he's coming from a pure heart. And that's the gift that I see that Mark brings, and he'll bring it to this show. Great wisdom, very successful in his business, but had a journey through even that. Being, just because you're a successful businessman doesn't mean that you're not going to run into challenges at times. And the way that he's come through is the whole reason that we're doing. He spearheaded this whole thing that we're doing at Chicago Soldiers Field in Chicago. I mean, I was just there last week. It is incredible. I sure hope people will come and be inspired there when we put this on November 4th. Do whatever you can. Get a plane ticket right now today. Be there. Your life will ever be changed. Just seeing what we're going to be doing there, my life has already changed, and it hasn't even happened yet. But this is the gentleman that's spearheading it all.
And we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna dive into that at the end. So stay tuned because it is a great opportunity. I'm gonna be in Chicago. We'll be probably doing Aloha Friday from Chicago.
Yeah, we'll do it.
So I can't wait for that. Aaron, aloha, awesome, and that goes to show again our awesome game. Everybody, I think, is loving the awesome encounter. Dave, awesome, Austin loves that word. For those who have been on our shows or watched our shows before, we like to count and see who says awesome the most. Who's the most awesome Austin or awesome guest? But yeah, I'm gonna let Mark tell his story because he has a rise to the top in his business and also a little fall, and he had his own mental challenges that he had to work through. And now, as you get to know him, and as I've gotten to know him, he just comes from a place of love, a clear head, and he's an amazing individual. So I can't wait to have him on. But another thing that we're adding to this is a quick tip of the day. Dave, can you lead us? What's a quick tip that we can give our audience and viewers right now?
Well, I've already kind of snuck it out there. I have found it's in your very breath. And so often, emotion will get in your way of an objective. But if you just take a deep breath, it gets you back to that connection. And, I'm sure Mark will talk about it because he's a guy that does it all the time. And that's why he stays so centered. I get nervous. I come in here today to meet with the owner of the house. It's an amazing, amazing family. We're having to work through some, I wouldn't call them issues, just things that are delaying, and you never know how that's going to be. But before I walked in, I took a deep breath and said, God, be with me. And in that, there's just a strength. And even if there isn't a strength, even if I have a moment of weakness, there's a strength in the weakness, if that makes sense. So your tip of the day is whenever you're feeling something that you're a little bit out of your comfort zone, take a deep breath, and instantly you'll be born back into the strength in any situation. And that's the funny thing I just said. Even if you're weak, you'll have a strength in your weakness. So there you have it. That's your tip of the day.
I love that tip. Hey, if you guys like that tip, share this video right now. If this is your first time joining us, if you've been a regular audience member of us, this is an abundant life that we live in, and this is going to be a powerful, strong message today. Share it with your followers. Let's reach everybody that could use some healing right now. Anybody and everybody can always use some healing in any circumstance, and the story today is going to be so powerful. So share this. Just look at that button right there that says share. Just click it. Don't even think about it. Just go. But then engage with us. Engage and comment. We love to hear from you guys. Billy coming in saying, I can't wait for college basketball to start. That's his gratitude for the day. I love to continue to hear more gratitudes as we continue on. Even if you're watching the replay of this, let's hear your gratitude. You can be grateful at any time of the day. But without further
before you do, I just had new insight. I just got new insight to what you're like in the huddle. I can see it. Someone goes, you just run that route. Just run it. I'll get the ball to you. Just go do it. Do it now.
Don't think about it. Don't think about it.
Do it.
A lot of times we overthink things and we get in the way of ourselves, right? We just got to, don't even think about it. Just go. Well, let's bring in Mark already. I think we've introduced him enough, but I just want to hear his story. I want to stop talking. I just want to listen. I want to learn today. So let's bring in Mark. I can't wait to hear from him. And here he is, the man of the hour. Welcome. Aloha. Thanks for joining us today. Let's just kick it off with your gratitude, Mark.
Before he does, if you anybody on the show that ever wanted to know what a Chicagoan looks like in a Aloha shirt, this is your opportunity.
Let's see that.
I just wasn't changed into this thing for this.
You're just like most of our guests so far. They're like, I got maybe one Aloha shirt that I've worn one time deep buried in my closet, but let me go find it. And I love it, though. The Aloha spirit is alive and well all across the country.
So gratitude.
Yes.
Dave and I have been working together over the last week when he was in Chicago. And one of the things that we noticed is there's a movement that is afoot. And it was deepened, actually, when we heard the news about what happened in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. It was just this kind of transformative opportunity. How are we going to look at this? What was going to be our response? And by bringing our best self into that, it allowed for amazing transformations that have just happened in a matter of a couple of days. So I'm grateful for that time. And I'm so grateful that you're in Chicago instead of at the concert, as I know you would have been there, as you mentioned. So very, very grateful for the last few days here.
Gosh, that's awesome. And oh geez, I just said it. But I love that. And I want to dive right into it. I didn't totally give the background. I know you had a background in sales. You started up a company on a napkin, brought it to, $20 million in revenue, sold that company. 9 months later, you had some mental health challenges that I want to get into, but you also, you were able to heal in the wake of chaos. So what was, your healing in that wake of chaos, if you can kind of go back on that?
Yeah. So one of the things that happened for me as I was going through my challenge, it was frightening. It was scary. I felt alone. And when I reached out and asked for help, it would come, but it was uncomfortable. It was like to ask for what I needed when I didn't even know what I needed. It was a big, confusing environment. I'd go online searching for solutions and I'd see contrary views. And that was frustrating. So trying to get back into a space of confidence that I'm okay and I'm back and I can do things like the way I had done them perhaps in the past or even better. That it was a very tumultuous time. And my wife and my kids, they were terrified. Who is this guy and what's he going through? In the experience, I was diagnosed with bipolar 1 disorder, which is, high highs of my mind spinning, repeating thoughts that just would cycle and tighten up, and the low lows of, after I got out of the hospital, I remember asking the same question that Russell Crowe, I think it was, who asked it in, what was that movie that he was in?
Beautiful Mind.
Beautiful Mind.
Great movie.
And he was sitting at the kitchen table and he turns to his wife and says, "What do people do?" Because he was so in his head in this fantasy world that was so exciting. And then he comes back to this reality that felt so boring. And that gap, that led me into a big time depression of not knowing what's my purpose, where am I going to go, and where did I find answers? I'll get to that in just a minute, but I just want to kind of set the stage for the circumstances that people are finding themselves in all over the planet. And then now you've got this thing in Vegas and people are going through what they're going through. We heard from one woman who she's got it's like a film strip. She keeps seeing it over and over and over, can't get it out of her mind. And I experienced that in my delusions and some of the things that were happening in my mind.
Sure.
How do you make it back from that? And that's something I'd love to go into a little bit deeper, but I just wanted to kind of set the stage to allow people to see, like, hey, this is a crisis circumstance for someone who was so used to being in charge, being the leader, being in control, that kind of thing, which led to a very successful business and a successful sale. What a confusing and big time discrepancy in the view of oneself, from this leader to, wow, I felt like a little kid not knowing whether I was going to do something really stupid and get punished by a parent, which my wife kind of took that parent role, or whether I was going to recover and actually become the man that I can become.
Yeah, and when we were talking off camera, I know a big motivator for you was that the doctor said that you'd have to be on medication, right, your entire life, and you decided that there had to be a better way. There had to be a way mentally that we can, maybe tools that we can use to get into that healthier mindset, and it goes, I don't want to say unnoticed, but a lot of people don't even think about that. There's people going through those challenges, and a lot of people do rely on drugs and medication. And I think that there's a great positive in that. It's amazing the technology and all that we have. But there are some tools that we can use. And I want you to maybe, I don't know if you get into that now, but continue with your story. I'm just listening.
Well, it's yeah. So first off, the end of the story, it goes that for 3 years I was in and out of the hospital. Just like you said, he's a great doctor in terms of, pretty, at the top of his field, but he didn't believe that I would ever fully recover. And it didn't resonate as true. My heart said, no, there's a way. And I grew up with a strong faith. I was taught anything's possible, and God has been in my life since I came out of the womb. It's been in the family for a long time. And it's like, there's a way. So I prayed for guidance, and that guidance came instantly. It started like a breadcrumb trail, and then developed some insights into what it was I was actually experiencing. And then I started to be introduced to tools that supported me in integrating some of the divisions that I would say are in my spirit, and those divisions were creating these polar opposites. I wanted to be kind of the Christ, and everyone who grows up a Christian kind of wants that, like, hey, that's the model that I grew up, one of my heroes growing up. And then I also had these views that I was this horrible person, and that division had many layers. So I'm going to share a quick story that relates and perhaps could help some people who might be struggling with what did happen in either Vegas or some other attack of that kind of magnitude.
Yeah.
When I was at one of my lowest lows, there was this thought in my head, and it started slow, and it was a word, and the word was something that I was extremely uncomfortable with. I'd always been terrified that my family has a military background and stuff too, Navy and Air Force and different Army. I was always terrified as a kid that I was going to have to be called into war and kill somebody. And it was this childhood fear. Well, here I was, an adult man, and I kept hearing in my head to kill, 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 kill. And it was awful. And I would try to push it away and push it away and push it away, which, by the way, that strategy doesn't work. If we're pushing away something that's coming up, it's just going to come back, and it comes back, or it came back for me stronger. So something that might be, going like this as a cycle started to loop and tighten until one night I'm in bed and this kill, kill, kill is going on. I'm terrified that I'm going to hurt somebody. And I asked the question, what does kill mean? And the answer shocked me. It's like, it was to awaken. That was what came. It's to awaken. And here I'm terrified of killing, and I'm hearing this over and over, thinking of all the people who've gone through and done horrific acts in the world, thinking, is this what they went through? I don't know, but I know that it almost got to a point where I was close to taking action against myself at that moment so that I wouldn't hurt another. And it was a very frightening moment. But when I asked the question finally, what does it mean? And awaken came up. I realized, well, how is that possible that awaken could be associated with this word that I've got all this fear around? If there's a bug, by the way, I get it in a cup and put it outside. That's how, and you guys know I'm a pretty gentle soul. So it's just such a big difference. So there was a goal that I had. And one of the things that we teach, and this is a core of the tools, is to look at why it is that we're doing what we're doing. What is it we want? And I had a goal to become this wholly awakened, ascended master who was going to kind of disappear and become one with all. And it was a fantasy of stuff I'd read and kind of didn't understand what it meant. There's a lot of metaphors and that kind of stuff. And my mind had taken it apparently to be pretty literal. And so I canceled the goal to be this view of an ascended master that I had as a kid or even as a young man. And then what happens after we cancel a goal that we have that creates these patterns is we move into the breath, as Dave said. So then I take this breath like this. And then another thing I do is I allow myself to feel the feelings. So that which might have been hidden in me, that I might have pushed away, like, oh, I don't want to feel that fear, I would turn toward it and say, I'm willing to see what this fear is. What is it that this fear might be teaching me? And as I breathe through the fear, I might, in certain circumstances, have images or thoughts, and I just breathe through those, almost like someone might be taught in meditation. And every time on the other side of that, there's this wisdom that comes. And it's just amazing what happens. And my path to recovery, is really centered around a process that Dave and I actually just put a package together. And Shane, I know you're going to help us with it too. And it's kind of a modern day view of the Beatitudes that are in the gospel. And when I was a kid, they were kind of esoteric. I didn't really get them. I always was curious, what do these mean?
Yeah.
Well, as I grew older and started to seek solutions, I was led to these Beatitudes, and I was taught that, no, they're not just platitudes. These are instructions. And the first one leads to the second, to the third, to the fourth, to the fifth, and and ongoing. And it keeps going. And as it happens, these things that were holding us back, creating repeating patterns in our life, they just start to dissolve. They disappear. And in that disappearance, what begins to appear is this grace, this gentleness, this holiness, this pure love. Whatever it is that comes up, whether it's a quote unquote enemy outside or inside, when it surfaces, we just turn and face it with love. And then it dissolves anything that might be of discomfort or hidden, and go through the same process. Allow that to be revealed, and allow the wisdom then from a well within us, it kind of springs forth. And as that came forward, I became more clear about who it is I am, what it is I'm here for, and it's led into Journey's Dream, and why it is I do what I do. And no longer do those racing thoughts or repeating patterns have any rule over me. Those have dissolved. And now that clarity comes with such a confidence that had disappeared for several years, and it's back.
I just want to jump in because there's so many brilliant things in there, so many powerful things. I want to make sure everybody's listening to. I mean, one thing, talking about the fear. I don't know. Are you guys getting an echo? I'm getting a little echo as I talk.
Now it's gone. He pushed something. Got rid of it.
But when you're talking about, and I don't know if you exactly said in these words, but instead of suppressing the fear, which a lot of us tend to do, you're embracing it. You're facing it, but you're facing it with love, as you said. And I think it's so easy in times of chaos, as we're talking about with the Vegas shooting stuff. We can think about the hate and the anger that drives us. It's frustrating that somebody could do that and affect so many lives. But if we come from a place of love, as you're talking about, and I've thought in any scenario, if we can always come from a place of love, that's the most powerful place to be in. Doesn't matter if somebody's giving you a bunch of chaos. If you're in an argument with somebody, even if it's something as small as that, and when we're talking about the scale of things, it doesn't matter. Love can come from all different shapes and sizes, but instead of suppressing, when we talk with our athletes, a lot of times it's similar. They get nervous before they get into a game, and they try to hide those nerves and pretend they're not there. But instead of suppressing the nerves, embrace them, use them, because they can be a tool that drives us. And I have a blog post on our webpage, extremefocus.com, that I talk about fear and the power of fear, and how you can, like you were saying, embrace it rather than fear it. Fear itself. So I love it. I don't want to stop you. I want to keep you going on this journey. But I just love listening to your story.
It's one story of millions of people who have overcome, have succeeded, who have found, a deepening of faith, or, something, in their language that could support them, and just moving into their best self, moving into that which is really going to have an impact on other people in a healthy way.
Zach says, asking the question to the voices in your head is a hard first step, but it does help tremendously. Thanks, Mark. And I think you identified that with saying, like, instead of, trying to push them away again, it's why. What does this mean to me? What does kill mean to me? But yeah, I mean, you can go into that even more if you want. But
I just want to say something too, as I sit here and listen to you, Mark. I'm so appreciative of you. I know that we have a great relationship that keeps growing stronger. But I love the fact that I've given you some mentorship, but in return, you've given me tremendous amount of mentorship too. As we go in life. And I love that sharing. And I think it just happens to come from the openness and willingness and being humble enough, each of us, just to take it, because we know it's coming in love. It's not like a criticism. There's a difference to that. There's hey, how about this way? Could you release that thinking? And as I go, well, wait a minute, I've thought like this my whole life. How you expect me to release it now? Oh, maybe if I released it, I might become better, a better version of me. And that's an interesting aspect in life. When things that come up and patterns that we've had that we hold on to, that you know what? We really don't need to hold on to. And we take that breath and then we face it. And now it no longer has that hold that we didn't even know it had on us.
Well, and along those lines, and I'm glad you shared that, because think about it this way. Imagine you're 5 years old, and most of us can remember at least one memory from when we were 5, whether it's a positive one or not. But if you can think of the way a 5-year-old thinks, and then fast forward to a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, or a 50-year-old, or beyond, and what if we continue to think at 50 the same way we thought of when we were 5? It's ridiculous, right? It's a ridiculous notion. But oftentimes we hold on to things. So for example, you might have been a young boy or girl, for anyone watching, who had a dream to be an astronaut. Well, and here you are, unfulfilled as an individual, not knowing that I'm still holding on to this belief that, someday I'll be an astronaut. That's an opportunity to look within and soften, just like what you said, Dave. Hey, I cancel my goal to be an astronaut. And because it was an idea, right? It was an aspiration for what we knew. But as we grow, we mature, we're educated, we have life situations, and I love what Kathy, Dave's wife, says, and Shane's mom, bend with the bamboo, which I don't know if Roger said that or if your father said that.
My
Dad, bend with the bamboo. It's like, that's it. It's like bend with the bamboo. And we can see that, and you guys have heard me say this before, but we can see it in the caterpillar surrendering its entire being and allowing its whole body in that chrysalis to be dissolved into a liquid form. What happens in that chrysalis? It goes completely into a liquid, but it's still a caterpillar, right? Except in a different form. It's still the same thing that it was at the core of it. And then it becomes a butterfly, right? Well, if that butterfly came out with these wings and stayed on that leaf, crawling around, eating, it would miss out on this beautiful and wonderful opportunity to explore and see the lakes and the flowers and the other animals and perhaps people that it had never had an experience of. We as human beings have the same potential to go through that surrender of those younger selves, if you will, those immature ideas that we're holding on to because maybe mom said, well, don't do that. Well, it was from a fear that we might have gotten hurt. And the opportunity is, mom didn't say don't do that ever. She just didn't want us to, jump out into the street at that time. And we learned to grow up and cross the street. So we evolve. So allowing the death process to be ongoing. And then what happens in that death process is there's always new life. Always. We're constantly dying and growing unless we choose to be who we were and hold on to that and not allow for that change in the spirit, in the emotions, the mind, the body. We allow the whole thing to mature. We allow the whole thing to evolve. That allows for us to be present in the moment. And then these tools, the one that I just shared, is a really powerful one. There's others that allow for that ease of transformation, allow for us to be conscious of the things that we might be stuck on and then ask the right questions to get to that core of what is it that we're really being taught, and allow for the illumination within. And then once we start to transform within, we can be much more effective in the world. We're more available to be our full self, and that's taking everything to account. When we're doing Journey's Dream, we're thinking of others, and we're also thinking of us. We're thinking of our communities, our families with this project. And it's like, that's a beautiful place to be. And when we can fully put that out and know that it's going to benefit whoever comes into it, it's just a blessing. And it's more like gratitude. It's like, wow, thank you for this gift of life, to be able to go through that transformation. It's amazing, because every day becomes this new day that we get to step into with joy and with like, yeah, awesome. I get to do this again. Like, wonderful. And this day will bring new things from the next day, and we're constantly growing. That's the opportunity. And that was the biggest aha I had with, quote unquote, mental illness. Mm-hmm. It's not an illness in my mind. It's more of a suppressed transformation. If we suppress the natural evolutionary transformation, we're going to have stuff come up that is uncomfortable, that might trigger our anger that needs to surface or something. There's an opportunity to just boldly go into that and say, hey, I'm willing to be that caterpillar. If it's my time to go through a metamorphosis, I'm willing to go through it despite the uncomfortableness. And what if we could hold people's hands through that and say, hey, encourage, and trust that on the other side of your metamorphosis, you're going to be a butterfly. And whatever that butterfly is for you, because each one of us has implanted in us a neural network that is connected with all of creation. And these gifts start to get turned on. And when they're turned on and applied in a loving way, possibilities are so vast. So vast.
I just want to say, I'm going to take the tip of the day of taking.
There, I said it. Awesome.
I'm going to breathe this in right now, and I hope everybody watching is just breathing in this. Frozen.
You good?
Okay, Dave, just reiterate what I'm saying here. But I think I
cannot hear him, Dave, if he's talking.
He's talking. I hear him fine.
Oh no.
Okay, you'll have to translate.
I see him. Yeah. He seems to be fine. Should I repeat everything he says?
I can't hear him. He's frozen on my screen. I can hear you, but not him.
You can't see my Aloha dance? Well, Dave, maybe you can reiterate, because the butterfly story is so powerful, because all of us, go through some kind of change and transformation, and some of us want to stay back to that caterpillar phase. And with his story, his journey, he climbed to the top, and then he had a fall.
I'll shut this down and restart it. Let me try that.
We can try it.
I think you're fine. I think Shane's fine. If you can hear me, I can hear him fine. So I think it must be on your end. I'm hoping. Can someone just dial in and say, hey, yeah, we hear him. We can hear Shane.
Yeah. Are the viewers hearing me? Am I being heard? I see Karen said Aloha Friday, and I want to say she made it in this time. Last time she commented on the wrong, I guess a shared video of it, but now she's on the real one, so she can join us live. So hey, Karen, love to have you with us. Mark, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. He's been fine.
I refreshed.
Commercial on your side.
Can you hear me now? Good. So I just want to talk.
I stopped talking. I'm just looking at your faces, and they're frozen. Like, wow.
Okay, Helen can hear us. Karen can hear us. Love it. Okay, perfect. Because I just want to talk about how beautiful that butterfly story is, and it just goes right in with your story, your journey, your caterpillar phase. Maybe it was the business side. You had a fall, the transformation into now a butterfly. But the beautiful thing about that is we don't have to just have one transformation. We continue going, and we've talked about it before. Is once you're hitting that ceiling, you might feel like you're hitting to the first or the second floor, and you push through that ceiling, you're in a whole nother level. And there's another ceiling you can push through. You push through that, you're in a whole nother level. We can continue up leveling and transforming into the greatest versions of ourselves. Even daily. I mean, all of us can continue to grow and climb together. And that story is so beautiful, Dave.
What I'm putting on here, I mean, it's so funny. This home, when you come here, you got to be kidding me. But you'll be you'll go, oh my gosh, it's just an amazing environment. But man, I've had to become a new me to even comprehend doing this. There's been so much of everything we were talking about. I've had to go from the caterpillar, and completely go into cocoon. And then, but I'm here now going, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I was willing. I am so grateful that I faced it and I breathed through whatever. I had to go to that place of, if it happens, it's awesome. If it doesn't happen, it's awesome. And that's hard. It's hard to be awesome. I'm saying it many times.
What number are we at, everybody?
No, but with whatever the result is, at least I'm moving forward and I'm open to allow myself. I'm not so hung up. Thank you. I'm not so hung up on the result to be able to define whether this journey was worth it or not worth it. It's already worth it. Now, that makes sense out there to everyone.
It makes perfect sense. And I want to ask everybody watching, the viewers live with us right now, even if you're watching the replay, it doesn't matter. If you're ready to transform into a butterfly, just say yes. Just type in yes, I'm ready. Even if you're already a butterfly, if you're ready for that next level butterfly, type in yes. Type in I'm ready. Whatever it is, I want all of us to start flying together. We can leave the caterpillars back on the leaf, and we'll tell them how beautiful it is and how great it is.
And so here's what we do at Be a Beast. We help butterflies fly in formation.
Yes. Have you ever felt butterflies before some events where you feel those nerves and stuff? It's not bad to have the butterflies. We just got to get the butterflies to fly in formation. That's the trick. Helen is ready. She's ready to be a butterfly. I love it. So I think this is such a beautiful story. We're already at the 42, 43 minute mark.
I hate to say.
We got to go into, and I think I'm going to add this as a title. We haven't called it. We ask the same 4 questions to each guest each week to get a different perspective. But, since a lot of times we bring in sports people, how about this? What if we call it the Final Four? It's just like March Madness. So
nice.
I want to get into the Final Four. You start it.
I'm ready to go, babe. All right. So, number 1, who would you say has been, the biggest inspiration to you in your life?
Yeah,
right here.
Yeah, this is interesting because before the show, Dave planted that seed in my head that it should be him. But I'm gonna go with Jesus Christ. It's funny because I had a kid version of Jesus, and I had an adult version of Jesus, and I would say that each time I soften and allow, I get to see something new in those teachings, and it's really been core to my formation and continues to be.
I love that. Dave, you got some tough shoes to fill.
Yeah. See that in me? No, I'm saying.
Okay, question number 2. We're going to fire it out there. Now knowing what you know now, and now that you're a butterfly, what is one thing you would tell your younger self if you could?
Yeah, so this is interesting. I would say, though I probably wouldn't have said it this way, the idea of letting go is really important to the attachment that I had to my parents and teachers, the priests, my friends, and their views from my perspective of how I saw how they viewed me. To let go of those things as quickly as I could, to allow me to really rest in the truth of who I am and not my perceptions of what I thought they were projecting on me. And because it's not about who they are. I mean, they're beautiful, divine, holy human beings. Like they're them. But those judgments of me really wore on me after the years. And I think it did contribute to some of that division, which, was diagnosed. It's like, release judgments of yourself is what I would tell myself.
And it's beautiful because we can't control everybody as much as we want to, but forgive them for what they do not know. And one thing, since we're getting into the spiritual side of things, and I love it, one thing that I've always loved, and you just kind of said it right there, is let go, let God. I always have stuck to that throughout my career, throughout my journey. And when we can let go, when we can surrender, we can open up to our greatest gift. So, Dave, go to question 3.
I'm going to get it with the let go, let God. I was playing an exhibition in
we got butterflies.
Crowded, stadium, and I hadn't played in a while, so I was like, oh my gosh, I started getting uptight. And all of a sudden I did the let go, let God, and all of a sudden I started hitting shots I don't think I've ever hit. And I went, oh my God, you're good. Why didn't I start hitting here earlier in my career? I was just like, it was just freed me. It was amazing. But anyway, to number 3, what's a hobby or something you do for fun that, what do you do for fun?
Well, one of my favorite things to do, there's 2 of them.
Besides flying around as a butterfly.
Right. There's 2 of them. I love when it's a nice day here in Chicago, which we get many of them, and my wife and I go rollerblading or biking, and Naperville has the most beautiful trails. And so we go off-road, on-road, and sometimes my sons will come with, and it is just being in nature is so beautiful. And then to get exercise on top of it, it's like a double win.
Awesome.
That's amazing. Okay, Dave, that's got to be 10 by now. I think you've hit your quota.
You know what?
Awesome. Continue to hit it. I love it. Okay, last of the final 4. I think we've already talked about it within your journey, but if you could wrap it up, what's the biggest life lesson from your profession, or let's just say from your journey?
Face conflict head on.
Wow.
And do it with love.
Wow.
So whether it's conflict within the self, whether it's appearing to be someone outside of us, that's, triggering something, that's going on in us, or we triggered something in them, to look at it, love it, be present in the moment. That's the biggest lesson, through this, is be willing to step into it and trust the breath.
Jeez, that is so powerful. And coming from a place of love, as you said, can you imagine I know you can, but for all of you guys listening, you come from a place of love in any scenario, you don't know what kind of impact that can make in somebody's life. And we talk about the shooting, and we talk about, people with these, maybe, some thoughts in their head. One act of love could change, just somebody's thoughts, maybe just for that day. We don't know what the impact that it might make. But if somebody's coming from a place of anger and you come from a place of love, and I've been on both ends of the spectrum where I've come from anger and somebody else came from a place of love, and it instantly changed me in that moment. And if we can continue to remind everybody else around us, and spread that love, spread that energy, we can all unite. As we're all human beings, regardless of what we all believe in, regardless of the judgments people have on each other and their opinions and all that stuff. If we can all come from a place of love, that's power, and that unites us. So thank you for that reminder, Mark, and thank you for taking the time today. This has been an amazing thing. But last off, I want to just know, how can people connect with you if they want to follow you, get to know you? What are you doing? I know we talked about a few things coming up here in Chicago in the next month. Take this is your floor. Let's hear it.
Well, there's a couple things. So one, if you're on Facebook, which I'm sure all of you are, go to Journey's Dream, our site, and follow us. And there's an event link there to our event, which is coming up November 4th at Soldier Field, as David mentioned. And if you want to reach me directly, you can email me at mark@journeysdream.org, mark@journeysdream.org, and check out what we're doing online there. This is amazing work. Imagine if someone were struggling, instead of struggling in silence, they could put their zip code in and find a practitioner, or many of them in their area, that believe in full recovery, full transformation, believe the things that we've been talking about, that, hey, it's not about just getting you, stable for the moment. It's about supporting you in that courage to transform. That's one of the things we're building. And there's others too. We've got programs that we're going to aggregate to support people where they're at. So, let's say, you're the caterpillar looking to go and have the courage to build the chrysalis. There's programs that support that. You're out of the butterfly phase and you're, whatever it is, will grow with you in that. So we're early in this stage, and we've got our inaugural kickoff at Soldier Field with some amazing people. Frank Shankowitz, the founder of Make-A-Wish Foundation, will be there. Elvis's stepbrother is going to be there. We've got great practitioners with innovative solutions, and you're going to hear stories of inspired people that will lift people out of hopelessness and shift over to hope and realize that, wow, maybe we can get to an entire planet that fully realizes this beauty we've been talking about of love and transforms naturally. We don't have these big blow-ups and these big, events, that are so disruptive to the millions of people that view it and the thousands of people affected, directly and through family and friends. Let's make positive choices here. And Journey's Dream is one avenue, and we hope to be a global avenue that's going to have an impact on hundreds of millions of people over time.
One more time, what was the event called so people know at Soldiers Field?
Soldier Field, Soldiers of Hope.
Yeah, it's going to take an army. And one thing I want to say is that it doesn't matter where you are. If you want to support mental health, because people are at different levels, you want to be there to be that support and find what's happening, because 1 out of 4 people have some form that they need this. Now, let's say you're in perfect health, you're thriving. The information, just for me listening, I'm a loving, husband with 4 boys. I'm already learning just through this. And I feel like, I'm blessed. I've got a very healthy mind, but I'm transforming with the same tools and becoming better. So it doesn't really, like you said, wherever you are in life, this is going to transform your life to be a better you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And in fact, we're doing that. The idea, I'm in extreme focus certification training. We have a for-profit company that's, bringing this kind of work to executives so that their organizations can also transform more rapidly. As a leader, I've been the CEO of, a mid-sized company, and we did exceptionally well. We cared about our people. But today, I'm way beyond where I was when I was running that company. And if I were running a company of that magnitude, I would absolutely bring these principles in, because it helps create happiness in the workplace, happiness at home. And when we have a happy, productive workplace, it's an engaged workplace. It's fabulous.
Well, thank you for that. And I just got to say, thank you for taking the time. This was such a powerful message. I'm learning every time in these Aloha Fridays. That's what's so fun is we get to co-host this, me and Dave, but honestly, I'm the biggest student here. I get to just embrace this, take it to the tip of the day. I get to breathe it in, and it's beautiful. And I can't wait for the Soldiers of Hope event. It's going to be powerful, impactful at Soldiers Field where the Bears play. If anybody is in that area, it doesn't matter. You can support it in any way, as we've said, but I'm going to be there. I can't wait. This is it's going to be an amazing event, and it's going to be an amazing event for years to come. Yeah. So thank you, Mark, for your time. And
thank you. Thank you.
Mahalo and aloha.
Here. Thank you.
Mahalo.
All right. Well, until next time, next Friday, we're going to be going live on Friday the 13th.
Ooh, scary.
We might have to have a special theme. We're going to have some fun with this. And then we got Halloween coming up. We're going to have to come in with Halloween costumes, right? I got it. We'll be tourists in Hawaii. We're going to wear Aloha shirts. We're going to have leis. We're going to drink Mai Tais. Oh, wait. That's already happened. That's every episode. That's Aloha Friday. That's the beauty of it. Every Friday we get to go to Hawaii.
What's a scary thought for me is I don't know where I'll be broadcasting from.
Hey, we never know.
I mean, Karen, I love that. So powerful. Love it. Thank you, Mark, Shane, and Big Wave Dave.
quick shout out to Karen talking about her podcast is amazing. I was actually a guest on it, and this week is her episode with me, and we had a great discussion. If anybody gets a chance, go to her Facebook, go find her podcast. It's unbelievable, the stuff. So I just love sharing all this energy. I love being in this energy. So continue to be in this energy every Friday with us. Check out Dave's Mondays on Facebook Live. You can start the week strong, finish the week strong with us, and stay in that energy together. Love it. Love you all. Aloha. Mahalo. Until next time.
Aloha.